What's up, everybody? Welcome to the ATL Sports HQ live show, the show for the fans, by the fans. This is episode lucky number 7, and I say lucky because we got a special guest with us today. Nia Sapp will be joining us, and she'll be sharing her sports knowledge and probably schooling us on a few things while she's at it, too. My name is Bob Lancaster. You can find me on Twitter, all through social media, Bowling Bob.
I'm ATL Phil Beasley. You can find me at _ATL Phil on Instagram and Twitter.
What's going on? I'm Daric Clemens. You can follow me on Twitter at @dclemens.
Hey guys, I'm Nia Sapp. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Nia On Air.
Awesome. You can follow the site at atlsportshq.com and ATL Sports HQ on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Also, the show can be found on all major podcast sites now, including iTunes. You'll probably find it on iTunes too, but how about iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, pretty much any major podcast site. Phil, why don't you shout us out for some writers, man?
Yeah, definitely. We're trying to build something special here at ATL Sports HQ. We've lost a lot of people this year. With great success always comes with people moving on to bigger and better things. So we're definitely looking to re-up some of our staff. We're looking for writers, contributors, pretty much anything. So if you want to join the greatest thing in the city, give me a shout on my Twitter and Instagram, and we'll get you linked in.
Awesome, man. Well, let's get right to it then. Let's start with our first topic, championships around here. Atlanta United won the MLS Cup with a 2-0 victory over the Portland Timbers. Our boy ATL Phil was in the building for the victory. So give us a game recap and explain what the atmosphere was like in the building, Phil.
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible. I mean, I got there maybe about 2 hours before kickoff. The atmosphere was just nothing can compare to any other sporting event that I've been to in my life. The crowd started to get a little nervous there right before the first goal. But once we got that first goal, man, it was like the roof blew off the building. And then when we got the second one, man, it just started to feel real. And, in my mind, I just kept waiting. I just kept waiting for something to go wrong because, this is Atlanta. So even when Joseph subbed off in the 75th minute, I was just like, oh, man, I don't know. That's a little early to sub him off. But we held on. We got the first championship. We partied in there for like an hour after the celebration. And it still almost doesn't feel real. With everything that's happened with me in the past week, none of it feels real. But I'm definitely excited. We finally got one. Hopefully this will lift the curse. Maybe the Braves will get one soon. Eventually, maybe the Falcons. And then one day, maybe in about 5 years, maybe the Hawks will get there. But that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, what was, you also went to the parade. How was that?
Yeah, that was great too. And for 1 day notice, a rainy, cold Monday morning, man, that was incredible. So many people were out there. It was really exciting.
Yeah, they said the estimate was like 200,000 people. That's and you and I were sitting in there. We were talking, and you and I we guessed a really high number. Again, for someone that's seen a parade for MLS and seen how many people will go to something like that, I wasn't shocked at all. It was actually good to see. Especially because it was cold and rainy and windy. That didn't hold nobody back.
Imagine if it was like a few days after, when people had time to get off work and stuff, and the weather was nice out. That would have been absolutely incredible.
But Nia, do you think the MLS Cup should be considered a major championship for the city of Atlanta?
Most certainly. I feel like if you're a professional team, especially in the city of Atlanta, I really feel like that should be considered something. I feel that now that they won the championship, that more people will kind of vouch for them. I feel like the program is growing with the Atlanta United. And I mean, honestly, it'll be better than what we have now, but most certainly.
Yeah, that's true. One is better than nothing, The last championship for the city was 95 for the Braves. So it's been a long time coming for, the city to have anything to celebrate. But yeah. Eric, do you think the MLS Cup should be considered a major championship?
I mean, yeah, it's a professional league. And I mean, you can just tell, like, the outcome, like y'all said, I mean, the outcome, like Phil talked about how the environment, you can just, I mean, how many fans were there? 73,000 around that?
1,010 or something like that was the total.
Yeah.
So I mean, that just shows that they're coming out and supporting and how much it means to the city, and you can just tell at the parade of all the videos and pictures I've seen. So yeah, it definitely counts.
Yeah, I know what you're gonna say, Phil, but go ahead, buddy.
Absolutely. Can't nobody tell me this doesn't count. It counts to me, so hey, that's all I care about. But nah, it counts to a lot of people in this city. You saw how the government reacted to it. Shout out Nathan Deal for going out there and getting booed in his little speech. But you know, Keisha was out there, Nathan Deal, everybody was out there.
Yeah, it for me, I definitely think it counts as a major. MLS is becoming a major player when it comes to having as many cities with sports teams as NFL, NBA, MLB. So they're starting to stake their claim as one of the top 4 or 5 sports. And you look at the attendance all year long for United, they constantly had that many people. It wasn't like this championship game was a one-off where everybody decided to just show up and go just because it was a chance to win. It's been that way all year long. The city has really adopted this team as their own. So, again, the people that don't think that obviously don't live around here to get the atmosphere of what people, how excited people were for that championship. But with Joseph Martinez having the season he did, winning just about every major award, how does he rank in the Atlanta, sports scene? What I'm looking for, though, is to give me your Mount Rushmore of Atlanta sports, Daric.
You started off with me.
We'll put you on the spot early.
Definitely Hank Aaron. That's one. We got to say Julio might be on there just because of how good he is. He's a superstar level, so I'd say Julio's on there from a football standpoint. 3, who else? Dominique Wilkins, of course. And then we're going to go. I'm going to put him on there. I mean, he won the shit and did that for him.
Someone's echoing. I think Phil's echoing.
Yeah, it looks like I froze for a sec.
I think you're good now. I think you're back. Someone's got their volume. I can hear echo. We good?
Think so.
Yeah, we go. Nope, still have it. Now, hold on a second. We're having technical difficulties. It happens. All right, I think we're good. Okay, so go ahead, Daric. What was that again? Your 4?
4, I said Hank Aaron, Dominique Wilkins, Julio Jones, and go ahead and put Martinez on there.
Nice. Phil, what's your Mount Rushmore, man?
I got to go with the same 4 pretty much. Definitely got to keep Joseph on there. The only question mark really would be Julio. Maybe replace him with somebody, but then who are you going to replace him with? So I got to keep it the same 4.
I say like Julio's talent, I think, puts him on there really.
Right.
But you got to figure, if you're putting in someone in the top 4, and you want to include a Falcon, you pretty much have to, put that between Matt and Julio, I would think, as far as, someone that's, again, you're putting on that statue to, for everybody to see as your city of Atlanta. But Nia, who's your Mount Rushmore top 4?
I'm definitely going to have to agree with the fellas because Dominique Wilkins, I'm sorry. Dominique Wilkins was definitely top 4 on my list because, wow.
He's the face of Atlanta Hawks sport. Atlanta Hawks sports. That to me, when you ask anybody, who do you know on the Atlanta Hawks? Boom, it's either Spud Webb or Wilkins. That's the first thing everybody asks, says to me at least when I talk to them about it.
And I hate the way we kind of did them back in the day, but I think we kind of made up for it that we kind of took an L on that one. But that is definitely my top 4 as well.
Mm-hmm. For me, I definitely think Hank Aaron is on that list. I definitely think Dominique Wilkins is on the list. For me being more of a baseball guy, I got Chipper Jones pretty high on that list. So, you know, I think he would be on there for me. And, you know, for me, it's between Julio and Matt. And I just think, you know, Matt gets so disrespected on here you know, in this city that I think they would leave him off and put Julio on the Mount Rushmore. But you can't argue with that. Julio's done so much for the city and so much for that football team that it's not like it's a bad thing to say that he's on the Mount Rushmore. But yeah, it's, again, when you're talking about a top 4 of any city, you know, it's always, you got to go back and you got to think, you know, oh, was this guy good? You know, was this guy good enough or stuff? But, you know, I definitely think, you know, Hank Aaron for sure and Dominique, you know, we can all definitely agree on those two. But I think the other two are up. I just think Joseph he's got a lot more to give before, you know, he really cements himself on the mountain, you know, but he's headed there. I mean, what a way to make yourself known, win championships.
Another person, though, Deion Sanders, he might be up there.
Yeah. I mean, you know, but Deion's one of them guys, though, that could be on the Mount Rushmore of about 4 cities. I mean, he's just, you know, that he was that good. You know, interesting though that you know that 30 for 30 next week is on Deion and could be one of the best 30 for 30s ever. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. One of my favorite players of all time. So. But let's move on to the Atlanta Hawks. Trae Young versus Luka Doncic, part 2 last night. The Mavericks pulled it out 114-107. Luka had 24 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. While Trae had 24 points, 10 assists, didn't have any rebounds, but both had pretty solid games. What does Trae Young bring to the Hawks that Luka Doncic could never have brought, Nia?
Honestly, between both of them, they're extremely great players. But I feel that Young, you know, he's a smaller player. He has really good court vision. He's really good passing skills and things of that sort. And then versus Luka, you know, he's 6'8". I feel like he has pretty good court vision, but honestly, with Trae, he's a playmaker. He gets his teammates involved. And you can see the court, and I feel like that's what the Hawks were looking for. They were looking for more of a playmaker, you know. So I definitely see that between both of them. I feel like Trae, he still has a long way to go as far as his development in the league, but I feel like he's going to be something very special for the Hawks. So yeah,
with Trae, you know, I think they hoped for the longest time that Dennis was going to be that guy, you know, like you said, that playmaker for the team, and he showed the flashes of it. But then his off the court stuff would happen, and you know, it seemed like the leadership lost trust in him because, you know, again, they were wanting someone not only to be the court leader, but also to be, you know, we've talked about it before, a face of the franchise. So, you know, and that's what, you know, I think that you know, he brings to the table, you know, as also being just a great face that they could pitch to the season ticket guys. You know, you're not going to pitch a guy like Luka Doncic to your season ticket holders here in Atlanta. It's just not going to happen. So, but Phil, what does Trae bring to the Hawks that Luka could never have brought?
Yeah, like you said, Trae is definitely going to be the face of the franchise. I feel like with Luka, his numbers are looking a little better this year because look at the cast around him. Dallas has a very good mix of youth and veteran players. They have a solid team. They were only in this position to get him last year because of all the injuries they suffered last year. So really, Dallas is a team that is built to compete by next year. They brought in DeAndre Jordan. Harrison Barnes is back healthy. Wes Matthews is back healthy. Daric is about to come back. They have a really solid squad. With Atlanta, you have Trae Young out here trying to pass to Miles Plumlee and stuff. And Miles Plumlee couldn't catch a volleyball if it was right in front of his face. So his numbers are really suffering, and the defenses are able to latch onto him from half court if they want to. So Trae is getting no space. He's getting double teamed. And we had our man Austin Rivers out of Washington talk about it. Trae is being defended like he's Steph Curry or something. And also, like you said, from a marketing standpoint, Trae Young is great for what we need here. Let's face it, there's not a lot of buzz. There's not a lot of hype around the Atlanta Hawks. It's kind of a sleepy team. So you need somebody that can bring that energy. And now we have the tandem of John Collins and Trae Young that we can build upon. And all the people out there talking about, oh, we made a mistake, blah, 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 we drafted the wrong guy. Also, keep in mind, we're also getting another player out of this. We're getting Dallas's pick next year, which will fall, I'd say, anywhere between 7 and 12. So this isn't it.
Well, we talked about it just a few minutes ago. When you ask people about Atlanta Hawks, you get the Dominique Wilkins response. We're a short, maybe year or two away from when you ask that question, people are going to say Trae Young. I mean, that's just, and may even say the same about John, but to me, they're pushing Trae enough forward to the audience that, again, he's going to be mainstream. The fact that, the major markets are already covering this Luka Trae story shows that both of these guys, they automatically want there to be a rivalry between the two, because the NBA needs something to market down the line too. They need that next, Kobe, LeBron, so hey, let's start the buzz for Luka Trae and go from there. But Daric, man, what do you think he brings that Luka could never have brought here?
I think the biggest thing is the impact that Trae Young has. I mean, his ability, he's able to run a team, and I mean, nothing against Luka. I think he's going to be an amazing player in the league, but I don't think that Luka has that same ability to make the players around him better. I think Luka needs to be in a position where he has weapons around him. So, and I think Trae Young's shooting terrible from the three-point line, but he's still being very productive. So his impact that he has on the team, he brings a lot of attention. So when you add other weapons around him, like John Collins, and you add more people, I think his numbers are going to be higher, and he'll be able to produce more and make the team better around him.
I think the biggest impact is, again, the marketability of him. I mentioned on the radio show Sunday that, you're putting out a young African-American male in a community like Atlanta, stuff like that, where he's going to be able to reach the younger kids coming through, going to camps, stuff like that, more than, bringing in an international player like Luka could do. I mean, it's just, with Grant Hill, really running things pretty heavy and stuff, he knows how the business side of the NBA works. And so, he made the best decision for the team's money. And, the fact that, it's not like he's a slouch or anything. I'm not trying to say that, but, it's just they know what they needed to bring in to sell tickets. I mean, and we're lucky that happens to be the fact that this guy could be really good down the line too, and we're building. And Phil said, we're not done yet. We still got picks next year to roll with. So, we're just going to build something around him. But it was nice to see yesterday, at least, that there was 3 guys with 20 points, and then Kevin Huerter was right behind him with 19. That's probably the most spread out line I've seen all year for points wise. But especially to be hanging with the Mavericks, who are really playing well right now. And so that was nice.
Throw at home.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So.
I'm actually happy that you said that about Trae Young and with the marketing and, having that African-American male kind of figure, because I felt like Atlanta has lacked that when it came to the Hawks, having that hero, that hometown hero. I feel that we kind of lacked that for years, you didn't see so many kids saying, oh, I want to go to a Hawks game and I want to be like so-and-so. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Has LeBron. Oh, I want to be like LeBron. I want to go to a game to go see LeBron play. So I feel that if Trae keeps at the way he's going, I really feel like, it'll get to that point.
When you walk into, when I was younger, when I would walk around in Seattle, man, I would see Sean Kemp jerseys. I would see Gary Payton jersey, and that was really, you really got that. When you go to LA, you saw the Kobe jersey. When you went to Cleveland, you saw the LeBron jersey. You come here, you don't see nobody. I mean, I'm trying to think offhand who the last Hawks jersey that I saw multiple of. I can't even tell you who it is. Probably Dominique, and that's and how long ago was that? And I've only lived here for 7 years or so. Yeah. So, and that's still who I would say I've seen the most jerseys of is Dominique. Yeah. So you bring up a fantastic point that again, this is someone that they can push in the face. the young kids can emulate, look up to him.
Exactly.
And again, that to me was another reason why they got rid of Dennis, because they were looking for a face. They needed someone like that. And so he was, this, I hope it clicks. I really, really do. Because
how Trae Young carries himself plays a big part in that too.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because his face, he doesn't look like a young college guy. I always say he looks like he's about 30, 40 years old in his face, but he does. He carries himself well. I watched him and a lot during the rookie premiere weekend, and he did a lot of interviews and stuff, press interviews, and he held himself well, and it was great. That was their first chance to present themselves to media, fans. There was a lot of fans there because a lot of the trading card companies are there. They take all their pictures, and he was really, really well spoken. Talked about the excitement of playing in Atlanta, and he was really excited about playing for Grant Hill, and so. That I knew that he would be really good, and I just I was more excited to see what he could do with everybody else when they were healthy. So and now that John Collins is back, we're about to talk about him right now. But they've shown you're starting to see the little things now. They're not winning, but I want to see the little things build up to winning. So and that's all you can ask on a rebuilding team, is that they fight, they're showing improvement. And, I really haven't seen that much regression. There's been a few games that have been pretty bad, but overall, they still seem to be, tuned in the fourth quarter, even when they're losing. So, shout out to, Coach Lloyd for that. So, but my next question, Daric, is how good has John Collins been over these last 2 weeks?
I mean, he's been great. I mean, he looks like he's the best player on the team, which he probably is. And I mean, yesterday against the Mavericks, I mean, that was the most aggressive I've ever seen him play. He was just going up, powering over people, grabbing rebounds, and then going up and finishing the ball, dunking it, and not doing – I mean, sometimes he falls into the habit of double clutching on his layups and stuff, but yesterday you didn't see really a lot of that. He did struggle from the field more than he usually does, but as long as he continues to play aggressive like that and crash the boards and stays out of foul trouble – I think he'll be great for the team.
Yeah, Phil, man, we talked about this on Sunday, but how good John Collins been over these last 2 weeks?
Yeah, John Collins has been an absolute monster. Coming into the game yesterday, I know he struggled a little bit from the field yesterday, but coming into the game yesterday, he was shooting 72% from 2-point range. That's just absolutely incredible. And, for a guy that size, you'd almost say he's a little undersized for a down low player, but his shooting has been absolutely amazing. And the thing is, they're really not running plays for him. He's getting it off of all hustle plays, rolls to the baskets, backdoor cuts, putbacks. He had about 6 or 7 offensive rebounds yesterday. He had ended up with like 16 total rebounds, which is just incredible. And he wasn't playing against anybody's front line. He was playing against DeAndre Jordan. So really, really impressive stuff. And he's putting these games together in a row. Before yesterday, he had 4 career highs in a row. His highs being 30 in the game against Denver on Saturday, and even that was against Jokic in them. So not a bad front line he's doing this against. So we're going to continue to see him get better. He's still only playing about 28 to 30 minutes a night. Imagine what he'll be able to do when he gets up to about 34 and really gets back up to game speed, because he's only played in about 10, 15 games now. So what we're seeing, I definitely think is sustainable, and we're looking at a future maybe 20-10 guy when we get this thing right. Him and Trae are going to be a tandem for years to come.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. Nia, how good do you think he's been?
Wow. I was across the street from Phil last week on Saturday while he was at the United game. I was at the Hawks game, and he had a 30-piece against the Nuggets. And I mean, this guy he's hungry for it. He's super aggressive. I'm loving his energy. He's pushing the ball up. I mean, he's getting rebounds. He's diving on the floors. It's like the little things that he's doing. So I feel like his confidence has definitely grown over the season, and that he's just getting more and more confident. And it's going to be so scary, and, with him and Trae side by side. I mean, you got Vince here and there. It's just, I feel like with John Collins really coming up and contributing more and being more aggressive and just being a monster out there, it's just going to be a really good thing for the Hawks. So, I mean, even the last 2.6 seconds of the game, I don't know if you guys heard, but he got ejected for knocking over Malik Beasley. But it's just like, you know, he's hungry, you know, it's just his aggressiveness. It's amazing. So I'm loving it. I hope he continues to keep up this and just be more consistent, and I hope to see great things soon. So
yeah, he you know, he was so good coming out of college. I was very, very happy with the pick when they made that one as well. I didn't expect him to be picked by Atlanta, but I was definitely very happy when they did. Was not, you know, it was him getting knocked out with injury earlier and not being able to really work in preseason with Trey kind of has hurt their confidence together a little bit. You know, they're trying to play together a little bit more, but he's starting to show signs of being a superstar. I mean, I think, you know, Trey has showed some signs of being there. John Collins, to me, is ready to jump to that level. I mean, again, he's doing what he's doing in 30 minutes, or, you know, high 20, early 30-minute mark. So it's going to be interesting to see what he'll be able to do, you know, when he is playing full time. It definitely looks like his legs are back underneath him. He's moving down the court well, grabbing rebounds. I mean, he finished with 17 yesterday. And, you know, that's huge, because one thing Atlanta needs is someone crashing the boards. For me, next year, I'm hoping that one of these picks down the line is at least a decent center to be on the team to grab some boards. But he has been everything and more for this team. So again, when he's fully healthy and they put pieces around those two, we're starting to slowly build a team. They remind me a lot of Philadelphia, which is, I think, why Pierce was so interested in taking the job here. I think he sees that, you know, the young talent coming across, but I think that they're ahead of their rebuild than Philly was when they started building through theirs. I'm not expecting 5 years of losing with this team. I would be really disappointed next year if we're not in the 30 to 40 win range. So, you know, at least 30, you know, but we'll just have to wait and see. But that kind of goes into my next question too. Are the Hawks exceeding your expectations, or are they who you thought they would be so far, Phil?
Man, at first, like the first 20 games of the season, I was like, oh my God, this is awful. I was at the games. Yeah, you seen me. Yeah, I was at. Oh God, get me out of here. What kind of mistake did I make? But nah, they've been better the last 2 weeks. Ever since John Collins came back, they've been much more watchable. And they're playing hard. They really are playing hard. Of course, there's going to be some times when we get blown out, because, I mean, look at our roster. But for the most part, they go out there and like last night was a perfect game if you're a tanking team. You really fight hard 3 quarters, and then you just don't have enough to get over the hump in the fourth quarter. But that's all you want to see from these guys. Just fight hard. You'd like to see the 3-point shooting be a little better. We're taking like the 4th most in the league, and we're shooting the worst percentage in the league. We're down to 31.7% as a team. That's not going to win very many games in today's NBA. But also, you're seeing them start to adjust a little bit to that too. They've really been pounding the paint. I think one game we had like 60-something points in the paint, which is really, really good. So, you know, they're adjusting. You know, Coach Lloyd Pierce, he's learning on the fly. So it's a process, you know. I think we'll still get to 25 wins this year. It'd be nice to see 30, but that's not going to happen. But
yeah,
so you know, they're out there fighting. You know, Trey Young, his shooting will come.
When you're rebuilding, that's what you want to see. You just don't want to see them slouched on the bench in the fourth quarter, getting blown out by 30. You know, to me, the biggest sign of, you know, the non-quit to me was the Vince Carter 25,000 point game. how excited and how into it they were to make sure Vince got that 25,000 point, you know, in a blowout game, kept them moving, kept them going, you know, just wanting to be there for your teammates. When you're a bottom feeding team and you know that you're going to be a bottom feeding team, it's so easy to just, you know, just cruise through the season and move on to the next one. But I have not seen that. So, but Nia, what do you think? Are they exceeding your expectations, or are they who you thought they would be?
It's starting. I really want to have faith in them. It's just more of like, I know it's trial and error with rebuilding. So I kind of didn't get my expectations too high, but I can see a lot of growth in the team. Just witnessing it myself in person last week. So, you know, I'm not expecting them to come out and, you know, be a championship team right now, but I do see a lot of growth. And if we continue to rebuild and kind of clean house with certain players, I feel like we could definitely at one point be the team that we should be.
Who surprised you positively or negatively this year with the Hawks? You know, someone that you thought, you know, they were going to be good, or someone you thought, well, they were going to be bad, but they are really good.
I would have to say, I mean, okay, I love Vince Carter. I'm a huge fan of Vince Carter. But Vince Carter, this is what, his 21st year?
Yeah.
I was not expecting Vince to still be going as hard as he is. So, you know, just witnessing that in person as well was amazing. That was actually my first time ever seeing Vince play in person, and I'm like a huge fan. But
I'm a Vince, like, that's my guy, you know.
Yeah,
came here, I couldn't believe it.
Hometown, so it's just like, you know, just to witness that was amazing. But I definitely was not expecting Vince to still have, you know, be Vince. So that was definitely a shocker for me. But I'm happy to see that he's still going at.
He's going to make such a good head coach when he leaves the game. That's what I think he brings to the Atlanta Hawks more than a player. I count him as a player assistant coach. You know, you see him sitting next to the guys when they have a bad game, talking to them, explaining the game to them. It's, you know, it's so nice to have a veteran like that explain not only the game, but the NBA culture, getting these guys to make sure that they're not violating team rules. You know, those things are big. And it's, you know, again, for him to come in at, I think, what, $2 million, I think is what he took, you know, and to bring that to the team, to me, that's, you know, that's priceless. I mean, I would pay $2 million to hear Vince Carter talk about basketball, you know, so it's worth every penny to me. But Daric, what do you think, man? Are they exceeding your expectations, or are they who you thought they would be?
The one thing that has surprised me, like y'all, all of y'all talked on, just their fight that they continue to play with. I mean, they go out there every night. You don't see people complaining, and they continue to try to win games. I mean, they're not falling into the tanking thing and just along for the ride. They're actually competing and trying to win. So, I mean, that's been, like, impressive to me. And, I mean, I didn't have high expectations coming into the season. I mean, you just look at the roster and you could tell. But I think they're kind of exceeding them because the way that they're playing, the way that they're fighting until the end, and we're not just getting blown out every night or something, and we're competing with some of the top teams in the West and in the East. So I'd say they are exceeding.
Yeah, you know, for me, it's definitely exceeding expectation, even with you take away the win-loss record. Again, we've all said it, the fight that they're putting up through 4 quarters. It seems like they have that one quarter every game that just ends up costing them, you know, the game. And so you take away that one quarter. Most of the time this year, seems like it's been the third quarter. They just can't come out of the locker room ready to go in the third. But you know, and so I love that. Again, when you have a young team like that, they've got to experience these defeats and understand how to play the game before you can take the next step. You know, we just got to see this, especially in Atlanta. I don't think that people would have bought into this rebuild of the Hawks had they not seen the Braves just go through it and seeing what having a bunch of young kids can do to, you know, change the culture of a team, change the success of a team. And so, people are buying into now. Now let's get rid of these guys that were only going to bring us to the second round or third round of the playoffs. And now let's build a team that can take us to the Eastern Conference Finals again, and who can take us to that next step. We're a good couple years away, but it's nice to see some sort of progress towards that. And like you said, they're hanging around with some of the better teams in the league. It's funny because the games that we've been blown out in were against some actually poor teams. So, but it seems like against the really good teams that we've held our own. So I'm not disappointed in them at all. Again, I'm hoping this time around when I go to the game on Tuesday, it's not as bad as the Sacramento game. That's for sure. So, yeah, because that was the worst one I'd seen. All right, let's move on. The Atlanta Falcons. Got to talk about them eventually. So they lose again this time to Green Bay, 34-20, and now are officially eliminated from playoff contention after high hopes going into the season. Super Bowl here in Atlanta. Very, very, very disappointing. We now got to start looking ahead to the 2019 NFL draft. If the Falcons are to get a top 5 pick, which is looking like they're number 4 right now for a pick, what position could or should they possibly target, Daric?
That I say number 1 on the list is the defensive line. We got to fill that in, and offensive line too. Someone that I like. I mean, I'm still very high on L. Oliver. I don't care about his anger issues or whatever. I mean, that can be handled in NFL. I like him a lot. But the defensive line, we definitely need to continue to build that. We have no pass rush, which is also, I like Josh Allen if he's still there, which I don't think. If we stay at 4, I don't think Josh Allen will make it all the way that far. But his pass rushing ability that he showed this year was amazing. And we still need that. It's been a problem for so long. I mean, I guess in 2016, we obviously had pass rushing, but it still hasn't been to the level that it needs to be a really good team in the NFL.
Yeah. This last game was the best for pass rushing, and like what I said, why did it take to a week 14 to all of a sudden establish a pass rush with the team? I don't know if finally they're comfortable with Bruce Irvin now, but still, I'm not buying it.
The reason that the pass rush looked good that game is because the Green Bay's offensive line was all hurt. Mm-hmm. It was pretty much their second string.
Yeah, that is true. They've been injured they have quite a bit as many injuries as we've had. So, but theirs has been on the offensive side of the ball, not on the defense side of the ball. But Nia, who do you think if they get a top 5 pick, who and what position should they target?
I cannot really speak on that.
You think there's a position? You think it should be like defensive line, or
definitely defensive line. We have struggled. Defensive.
Yeah, there's so many different positions. That I go through and I look through this. Who we have starting, who has been struggling. And there's just, you pick a position and you can find someone. That's why they cannot afford to mess up this draft at all. I mean, especially this top pick that we're gonna have here in Atlanta cannot screw it up. But Phil, who you got in mind?
Man, we need a quarterback. Matt Ryan costing us now.
It's funny that you say that though, Phil, because I do think this is the year that they do need to draft a quarterback, 5th round. But
there's some people who've been wanting Matt Ryan here for like the past 8 years now. But definitely either offensive or defensive line. You gotta get one of these big guys out of like Alabama or Clemson or Auburn, one of these SEC, ACC schools. Got to snag one of them and start snagging up this line.
Yeah, Quinnen Williams, the defensive tackle for Alabama, he's an absolute beast. But the funny thing is the two best ones from you mentioned with Quinnen and then Daric Brown, the defensive tackle from Auburn. They're both expected to go within the first 3 picks. So the Falcons are going to have to lose a little bit more. In hindsight, it wouldn't be such a bad thing for them to lose to Arizona this week. I'm just saying,
it's coming. It's coming.
Move them up just a little bit more, So for me, I definitely think that I'd love to see him get Nick Bosa out of Ohio State. He is the real deal. His brother's the real deal. So I know it runs in the family, but he has a little bit of knee injury problems. So, being a defensive lineman, having knee problems, that's never a good sign. Ed Oliver, like Daric mentioned, fantastic. I would love to see him come here as well. But for me, the sexy pick is DeAndre Baker out of Georgia. Corner has been a bad position for us this year, so I would like to see them move Trufant to safety, put DeAndre Baker in the cornerback spot, and then get rid of what's his face, Robert Alford. Get rid of. I
see us getting rid of Alford this year. This offseason, I see us cutting him.
Yeah, I don't think that. Again, he's a sexy pick. I think there's no way they draft a cornerback because they'll just get a corner out of free agency over drafting. But there's definitely going to be some new blood at the cornerback position next year. There's definitely no doubt about that. So, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, again, it's been a while since we had a pick this high. I can't even think who would be.
What's his name? Beasley.
Yeah, Vic Beasley, but was he what, top 10?
I want to say
7 or 8.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure how high he got drafted, but you can't keep missing. You keep missing on these draft picks, and again, you're going to run into the same issues that now we're hitting a lot in the first round. That's great, but second, third, fourth, fifth round guys, they're nowhere to be found anymore. So, it's going to be interesting to see what they do there. But if Arthur Blank decides to clean house at the end of the year, who would you want to coach the Atlanta Falcons, Phil?
I would scour some of these top offensive teams and look at their offensive coordinators, because there's no reason that you have Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, and the offensive weapons that we have, and for us to be struggling pretty much every other year on offense. It's absolutely inexcusable. I think this team should be breaking records almost every year with the talent we have. Matt Ryan is a top 5 quarterback in this league. Jones is a top 1 or 2 receiver in this. There's absolutely no excuse. We got to get it done. And the window is closing, if not already closed. I don't know.
Do you think he survives, though?
I think it depends on how we end the season. If they just end the season flat, he's out of here. And like I said on Game Time on Sunday, Arthur Blank has tasted a championship now. He's going to want more. So he's going to hold these guys to even higher standards now because he done tasted it. He wants to get back there. So definitely, if we don't finish these last 3 weeks like 2-1 or look good at least in the process, heads are gonna roll. Yeah. They gotta show them something.
Daric, who do you think, man? Do you see a coaching change, and if so, who would you want?
We talking about Dan Quinn?
Yeah, Dan Quinn.
Okay, I mean, I don't think he will be gone after a year. I think Blank is still comfortable with him and has trust in him, but. If say so that we were to get someone else, someone that I like, I mean, on the college level, I like Lincoln Riley from Oklahoma. I think just his offensive mindset, it would be really good in NFL, and especially with all the weapons that we have. So, I mean, that would be like if we were to make a change from Quinn, but I think Quinn will still be here for at least 2 more years. I guess it depends on what happens next year. He could end up on a hot seat next season, but I think now he's fine and locked in.
Yeah. Nia, do you think that Dan Quinn's going to survive after this year?
That's a tough question. I'm on the side between. I'm in between right now because honestly, like how Phil was saying, it just depends on how we end. Honestly, I really think that it's more than what we know that's going on. And of course, offensively, like this is just really unheard of. the Falcons have had tough seasons, but I've never seen them this bad. Like,
what's it? Especially when I've always gone back to the Washington Redskins game where they played the best 4 quarters of the year, coming off some losses, and so it I thought, here it is. Here's the turnaround that they need. We know they're a good team. And then they just fall flat every game after that. And it's just, again, it's been really, really, really shocking to me. I had them at 9-7 for the year, and I didn't have them making the playoffs, but I never expected this. I mean, not in a million years. So, but to me, I don't think that he's going to survive. They'll put it good. Arthur Blank now sees championships, and the look on his face last week in Green Bay when I saw him the camera went to him in the booth, and he didn't look so happy. But the name for me is actually I could see the 49ers giving up on Kyle Shanahan, and I could see Kyle Shanahan coming back to Atlanta. I know Matt Ryan loves him, so that's just a name I could float out there, but. Arthur Blank is such a loyal owner, though, that it's really, really going to take take everything for him to get rid of Dan Quinn. But I think that if anybody goes, or if someone goes, everybody goes. I think they clean house all through them.
I don't know.
That's including Dimitrov.
Sark got to go, no matter what. He got to go.
Well, I think that call, any coordinator call like that, though, is usually based upon your quarterback. If he has a good relationship with Matt Ryan, then Sarkisian's going to stay, because you don't want to keep bringing in new coordinators every year. So if Matt's comfortable with him, he'll stay. But I know Matt just had that rapport with Shanahan so well that I could literally see him coming back. But I think Dimitroff's on the hottest seat, and him and Arthur, when they stowed that shot into the booth, the owner's box, Dimitrov was just sitting there typing away, not even looking at Arthur. So I'm sure that it wasn't a pleasant place to be. But one thing about the offseason too is we got to go into another offseason of the Julio Jones saga. But if the Atlanta Falcons don't extend Julio Jones this offseason, do we see a repeat of the Le'Veon Bell situation here, Nia?
I believe so. I strongly believe that.
I mean, he should be getting paid, right? I mean, look what he's done. Look at the numbers.
So much for the Falcons. I can't really fathom as to why it's such an issue, as to why this man cannot get paid more than what he deserves.
You can't just keep saying to the guy, your star player, we'll get you next year. Oh, we got you next year. We got you next year. We got you next year. The minute they paid Matt Ryan, I was like, uh-oh. Now where's the money going to go to Julio?
Yeah. And you would think they would at least make those adjustments, because it's Julio Jones, So, yeah, I definitely think it's going to be the same situation, honestly.
Phil, are we seeing a Le'Veon Bell repeat here in Atlanta?
I think the Falcons are going to have to sit down and have a long discussion with themselves on the future of this franchise. Because, you got to start looking at the age of Matt Ryan. You got to start looking at things. Well, should we really give Julio a whole new contract? Matt Ryan's only getting older. So, are we going to try to keep this window open, or are we going to unfortunately start fresh? So I think they might let his contract just ride out next year and let him go the year after. I know a lot of fans don't want to hear that, but it's a conversation that's going to be had to have.
Well, you won't be letting him go, but I guarantee you they'll put that franchise tag on him pretty darn quick. I mean, you've already G'd up all your other guys that need to be paid. So now the last one left is him, and there's no way he plays it down on the franchise tag. No way. No way. That, to me, that's a slap in his face. And I mentioned in our chat that pay attention to what happens to Russell Wilson in Seattle in the next few years, because they're in the same exact situation where everybody else got paid. It's time to pay Russell now. and the money's not really there, and it's going to be the same exact situation. So, but Daric, man, do you think there's going to be a Le'Veon Bell situation here?
No, because they're going to do the right thing and pay him. They have to pay him. I don't see any other option that leads to a good path if you don't pay him. I mean, he deserves it. I mean, he's having one of his best seasons this year. He just broke another record with the 1,400 yards 5 times in a row, passing Marvin Harrison. But you just have to pay him. But I would not be mad at him if he did not play it down if that did happen to him.
Yeah, I was looking to see if anybody in chat had some opinions on this one. I know, that he's such a big name around here, so it's interesting. I was curious what they were, but they're being kind of quiet there. But yeah, for me, it's you have to pay him. But here's where I kind of agree with Phil too. You can't lock yourself into years with him. Again, you drafted Calvin Ridley. So, clearly they're setting themselves up for the future of the wide receiver position, for Ridley to slide more into the Julio spot, Julio to slide more in the Sanu spot. And then, those changes, but I would upfront his money, have a lot of guaranteed money. And then, because he absolutely has to be paid. I mean, he has done so much for this team. And last year was the first really year that I heard any peep out of him about getting paid. And you're literally going to have that when you watch everybody around you getting these fat contracts, and you're playing on a very undervalued contract for what your, stats are, mean to the team and stuff like that. So it's going to be one to watch. I definitely wouldn't want to be in that situation, because if he does hold out, around here, it's going to be interesting. So let's get into some national news now with some buy or sell. And on an Instagram post, someone mentioned this went through our ATL Sports HQ chat. An Instagram post, someone mentioned that Joseph Martinez is the best player to ever wear the number 7 in Atlanta. Buy or sell that statement, Nia?
Okay. Someone really said that.
Hard, man. We all know who wore number 7 around here.
It's like, okay, definitely sell that one.
Yeah, that's why I threw it in here, because that's a touchy, tough subject around here. But Phil, you buying or selling?
Where's my credit card at?
I knew it was. I knew it was coming.
Where is my credit card? I'm buying. Now, look, we said best. We didn't say most, biggest impact, any of that. We just said best, and Joseph got the job done. So he brought the championship. So I gotta buy that.
Daric, what you think, man? You buying or selling that one?
You don't even ask me that question. I'm selling that one, and you can't compare the two. So that's my opinion on that one. But yeah, I'm definitely selling.
Man, my wife should kill me for this one, but I'm selling, man. I love Michael Vick. I always have through Virginia Tech, and I just love him. She's a huge dog lover, so she'll kick my ass later. But still, but you take away all the personal bullshit. He was electric on the field here, and electric on the field at Virginia Tech. One of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen athletically in my lifetime. So, I put the two best I think I've seen athletically are Randall Cunningham and him. So, that I just got to, again, for me, I just haven't seen enough of Joseph. Again, that's great that he gave the title, but he needs a few more years. You can't just tell if it's just he had one great season and we'll never see another good one, or he may get posted and leave. That's how soccer works. So, he may only be around here for a couple of years. So, but on the NBA on ESPN, Tracy McGrady said that in his prime, he could take Kevin Durant one-on-one in Kevin Durant's prime. Buy or sell McGrady whooping KD one-on-one in their prime, Phil?
People forget now, despite Tracy McGrady's prime being very, very compact, when he was at his prime, he was great. I think he just has more tools than Kevin Durant to get it done. I know Kevin Durant has the size, but I think I'll take T-Mac if in his prime.
Yeah, Nia, who are you taking? McGrady?
Oh, McGrady all day. I'm just gonna buy that one. Just get the credit card. But yeah, most certainly, I love to watch T-Mac's old highlights. I mean, this man was amazing. He was.
I asked this question at work, and I was surprised that how much everybody was on McGrady. And so I've never really followed Tracy McGrady all that much. And so I went back and looked at his stats, because the next question I asked the guys at work was, do you think he's a Hall of Famer? And everybody's like, first ballot, you know? So then I went back today and I looked at his numbers, and then I started watching some video, and I'm like, now I don't, you know, I was all, no, Kevin Durant's my guy, no way, you know? But now, you know, now I'm not so sure. But Daric, you think Tracy McGrady could take Kevin Durant?
That's a hard one. It ain't gonna be no whooping. I know that. It's KD. I mean, they're both two of the most best scorers of all time. I think something that gives Tracy McGrady the advantage is his heart and his determination to be on top. I don't think Kevin Durant has that. However, the height and Kevin Durant's scoring ability, I think KD might pull away. I think KD might pull away in that one-on matchup.
Yeah, you know, when it comes to one-on-one, you know, again, looking at video today more, you know, I've definitely changed probably where I would take T-Mac in the prime. But I really don't like this question all that much, because their games were so different. The league was different, you know, when both of these guys play. And it's when people always say, hey, you know, do you think, LeBron could take Jordan? You know, do you think Kobe could take Jordan? Yeah, it was two different styles. You know, the NBA was completely different then, so it's hard to tell. We'd all love to see it. You know, we would all wish we could have seen Kobe versus MJ in their prime. You know, we wish we could have seen, you know, a McGrady against Durant, but we can't, so we can only speculate. But you know, you just never know. So, but yeah, I'm gonna buy that. You know, I think McGrady could definitely take him. I would do like a best of 10. And then see who the better one is, you know.
5-5 probably, but our luck.
All right, Phoenix Suns owner Robert Sarver has said that if he doesn't get $230 million in funds to renovate the Talking Stick Resort Arena, that he will move the team to either Seattle or Las Vegas. You know, I love my Sonics. They're very, very dear to me. So buy or sell Seattle ever getting another NBA franchise, Daric?
I'm gonna buy. I think it's deserving. I think the fan base wants it. I think it will make a lot of money for whoever. And I mean, I think it's gonna come soon. I don't know how soon, but I think it's definitely gonna happen in the future.
Phil, what you think, man? You buying or selling Seattle?
Take out my credit card again. Yeah, definitely. Seattle absolutely deserves a team. And how many years has it been now? It's been about 10, 11 years. Yeah. Absolutely ridiculous that the NBA is not back there yet.
Nia, you think that Seattle deserves a team? You buying or selling that?
Most certainly. I'm definitely buying that one all the way.
Yeah, you know, again, that's my heart. You know, I grew up on Peyton and Kim, you know, and so I'm definitely buying, because I know the TV market there is good. They were constantly in the top 10 for TV market when they were a franchise. The fan base is definitely there. You know, when they moved to Oklahoma City, it wasn't because of the fan base. It was because the legislature wouldn't push a new arena back when, you know, to keep a team, legislature had to front all the money to get you know, to build you a new arena. Well, now private money has really taken on new arenas and stuff like that. So, you know, they seem to be more open. I think Adam Silver being now the commissioner and having a fresh set of eyes looking at that makes a big deal. I would be a little disappointed if it was if we took someone else's team, because I knew how much that sucked when that happened to us. I would prefer it to be expansion. But the fact that it's, Adam Silver has said multiple times that he doesn't see expansion for 5 to 7 years or so. You got to go with the next best thing. And well, I wouldn't mind Phoenix either. I mean, a good, a young team, and so which is essentially what left Seattle when. Was a building young team. So I wouldn't mind some of them guys, but let's move on, end it with some entertainment news. I have no clue if you guys know what this stuff is, but I'm going to throw it out anyways. Kel Miller has started floating the idea out of reuniting with Kenan Thompson for a sequel to Good Burger. Buy or sell the original Good Burger movie, Nia?
I'm definitely going to have to sell that one. I'm not a big person on spin-off or like doing like a
reboot.
It's a classic, it's such a different era now. Like I love Good Burger, but I don't think I would be a fan of it. I love them both though, but it's so different now. They're older. It may not be as appealing to us that grew up watching it, so I'm gonna have to sell that one for sure.
Bill, you're selling Good Burger. Buy or sell?
I'm gonna buy it. It was a good movie back in the day, and neither of them seem to age for some reason. They both look the same as they looked back then. So I'll buy it. It'll be a little funny. I'm sure they'll add some new little twists to it. So I'll buy it.
Daric,
you buying or selling Good Burger?
Before his time, Daric don't know nothing.
Man, be quiet. I'm gonna sell. The first one is a classic, of course, but the sequels, sometimes they do too much and they mess up the image of the movie. So yeah, I'm gonna just have to sell the sequel.
Nia said though, kind of took my answer. I'm selling for the fact that again, the audience that Good Burger was for, we're all grown up now, and one thing about it is Kel Miller just ain't that funny anymore. Kenan Thompson is hilarious. And so I think that Kenan will hold that movie. Plus, they had that feud together for quite a long time. It was recently, I think Jimmy Fallon was the one that got them together for the Tonight Show. They did a skit that even got them started talking about this. Leave Good Burger enough alone. It's just, it doesn't need a sequel. But apparently it does, because I've been seeing I saw a petition thing for it. And it had like 800,000 signatures or something like that for them wanting to do a Good Burger reunion. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it will be good, but it'll never be as good as the original. But we'll end it with the Birdman stuff here. Rapper Birdman has put his beachfront mansion up for sale in Miami for the cool, affordable price of $15.5 million. Buy or sell Birdman, Daric?
You see how he did Lil Wayne? You see how he finessed him? Yeah, I'm good with messing with Birdman, but I'm gonna sell.
Nia, you buying or selling the Birdman?
Definitely selling. Birdman is poo.
Phil, you buying or selling?
Definitely got to sell him. He ruined the career of Lil Wayne. He ruined Rich Homie Quan. What happened to Rich Homie Quan? He ruined a lot of people. He messed with people's money. I don't respect nobody who messes with people's money. So definitely got to sell him.
We're clean sweeping, man. Birdman is trash. He's trash as a rapper. He's trash as a producer. But I wouldn't mind having his money though, so he must not be that bad. But the Lil Wayne thing really sucked. So to hold anybody that holds someone's hostage, someone's livelihood hostage or someone's album, that pisses me off. So it's very Suge Knight. I mean, that's what Suge Knight used to do back in the day. Hold someone's albums. Except he was a little more hardcore than Birdman was about holding your albums hostage. But
pull up that one time in Atlanta.
Who was that?
Then Young Thug and them, they tried to pull up on Lil Wayne one time in Atlanta.
They did.
Yeah, and shot up his bus.
I think there's a case open for it right now, actually.
It is.
Yeah, it's true. I checked out the house online too. Man, $15.5 million buys you a lot. He had it up for $20.5 million earlier this year, and nobody touched it. But man, it's a sweet piece of property, that's for sure. But all right, well, that's all we got. Let's do some ending shout outs. Phil, who you shouting out, man? Phil, are you frozen? Mr. Tech difficulty.
Oh man, I think
I'm gonna shout you out a new router.
It's a new house. It should be doing good. But definitely shout out everybody listening. Shout out Game Time Radio, where we'll be taking over this week, and E has to go out of town. So it'll be me, Bob, and I believe Jansen, right? And actually shout out Jansen because I'm gonna be doing some stuff with him tomorrow too. So definitely shout out everybody listening. Shout out Nia. Definitely appreciate you, and you did some great work with us over the summer for the Atlanta Dream. So shout out everybody.
Daric, who you shouting out, man?
Yeah, shout out everybody watching, and like Phil said, we appreciated Nia for coming onto the show and bringing your insight, and that's about it.
Nia, who you want to shout out?
I'm shouting out you guys. Thank you for having me. It was an honor and a pleasure. It's really dope, and shout out to everyone who's watching.
Yeah, I'm gonna shout you out, Nia. The one thing I get asked the most is, when you guys gonna bring a woman on the show? We're tired of you three boys. So your name got floated out to us, and we definitely all three of us agreed that you'd be great to have on, and you haven't been disappointed at all. So, and also I definitely want to shout out Game Time Radio again. That's an ATL Sports HQ takeover on Sunday. I'll be hosting with Phil and Jansen. We're really excited to have Jansen on Sunday. So it's gonna be a fun Sunday, that's for sure. So look for us then. But that's all we got. So thanks for listening to the ATL Sports HQ Live podcast, and we will see you guys next week.